use next year, 2012. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
I mean, Israel will wage war on Iran.
I believe that 2012 will witness the commencement of a series of wars, one after the other. And Singapore knows that very well. And these series of wars, once they are commenced, they're not going to stop until Israel replaces the United States as the ruling state in the world. I do not anticipate the clash of Gog and Magog, meaning the Russian-led alliance against the American-led alliance, which will destroy every town and city. I do not expect that clash to take place immediately. Maybe another 20 years or so, but I can be wrong. Any more questions? I am not certain that when Israel attacks Iran, that they're going to use nuclear weapons. I expect the use of limited nuclear weapons on certain specific sites in order to destroy nuclear plants, underground nuclear plants and so on. But I hardly think that Israel is going to use tactical nuclear weapons in populated areas. The public opinion around the world, the backlash of public opinion will be too great. The hadith he has asked about, that Dajjal will be followed by 70,000 Jews from Isfahan wearing their Persian shawls. And he says that there are now about 30,000 Jews in Iran. Part of the strategy adopted by Gog and Magog has been to accept a religion. The Khaza, for example, accepted Judaism. And so the world witnessed for the first time the unique phenomenon of something called a European Jew. Prior to this, the only Jews that there were in the world were Semitic Jews, Semites. The Europeans are not Semites. But when the Khaza accepted Judaism, this is a historical fact, they accepted Judaism, the European Jews came into being. And the Quran accepts as a Jew whoever claims to be a Jew. You may not be an Israelite, but if you declare yourself to be a Jew, then we accept you as a Jew. And so when the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that you're going to fight the Jews, and you're going to defeat them, and at that time the stones and the trees will speak, and they will say, there's a Muslim, there's a Jew hiding behind me, come and kill him. It's not referring to any Israelite Jew alone, referring to all Jews, European Jews as well as Israelite Jews. 40,000 Jews from Isfahan, therefore, could be Jews both Israelite or non-Israelite. Sometimes, 70,000, sorry. Sometimes when the hadith uses a figure, it uses it figuratively, can't get the pronunciation, as a figure of speech. For example, a man asked the Prophet ﷺ, which was the first masjid which was built. He said the Kaaba. And then he asked which was the second masjid which was built. He said Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem. And then he asked how much time elapsed between the two. He said 40 years. 40 years for a few thousand years? 40 years for a few thousand years between this one and that one? How could it be 40 years? So sometimes the hadith will use a number as a figure of speech. It does not therefore have to be understood One of the reasons for the attack on Iran, this question now allows me to expand my analysis, is because the Zionists want to get rid of the present government in Iran. You can choose to believe what you want, but I accept that the present government of Iran is sincere in its opposition to Israel and its support of the Palestinians. You can choose to believe what you want, that's your business. This is my opinion. My view is that one of the reasons for the attack on Iran would be to bring about regime change in Iran. The present regime in Iran is not a militantly Shia regime waging Shia-Sunni sectarian war. No. The present regime in Iran is willing to establish fraternal ties with Sunnis. Yes, they do not permit any Sunni masjid to be established in Iran. So Sunnis in Iran do not have Salatul Jummah, they have to go to the masjid under the Shia control. And that, of course, is something we don't agree with. But that's not a cause for taking up guns and fighting them. No. So I understand that the government in Iran at this time is a government which is prepared to try to establish Shia-Sunni solidarity. This is my view. And this is something inimical to Zionist interests. The Zionists would like to direct the Shia world in a direction of confrontation with Sunnis. And for that, you need to have regime change in Iran. And if they succeed in that regime change by attacking Iran, they will want a new regime to emerge in Iran, which will be militantly sectarian and facilitate the emergence of a civil war between Shia and Sunni. At that time, if this succeeds, then I believe we'll see the fulfillment of this hadith about Dajjal being followed by 70,000 Jews from Isfahan wearing their Persian shawls. Any more questions? The question pertains to the use of gold and silver as money and the utility of buying gold and silver at this time when the gold stocks of the world are controlled by those who are not Muslims, and that by buying gold you are enriching non-Muslims. I have a book at the back entitled The Gold Dinar and Silver Dirham, Islam and the Future of Money. Whether we like it or whether we don't, the world tomorrow, in my opinion, is going to return to gold and silver as money, whether you like it or whether you don't. I came to this conclusion about 2 years ago perhaps, because of my study of Islamic eschatology, that no Jew will accept Dajjal as the Messiah. None. If Israel is using paper money. Because every Jew knows what the ulama don't know in Islam. Every Jew knows what the muftis don't know in Islam. Every Jew knows that this paper is bogus, is fraudulent, is utterly haram. Every Jew knows that. And it's a vehicle through which mankind is ripped off of the wealth. They all know it. It's only our scholars don't know it. In order for Dajjal to convince the Jews that he is indeed the true Messiah, he's going to have to bring back the money which the temple in Jerusalem used to mint. The temple built by Sulaiman alayhi salam minted its own gold and silver coins. Because the Roman government minted coins with graven images, and this was not kosher, not halal, to put a human head on the coin. And people had to go to the temple with their Roman coins, and you had to pay the rabbis for services like making zabiha of animals, to sacrifice an animal. Only the rabbi could do it in the temple. How would you pay? Because this money is not halal, with a graven image. So there were money changers in the temple who will change Roman money to temple money. And the money changers were ripping off the people. And when Nabi Isa alayhi salam entered the temple and he saw that, he cursed them, because that's a form of riba. And he overturned their tables, and he chased them out of the temple. And he said, "You've taken the house of God and transformed it into a den of thieves." So every Jew knows that the temple minted its own coins, gold and silver. And so Israel has to return to gold and silver as money. And therefore the Zionist world has to return to gold and silver as money. And when they do, guess what the world of Islam will do? The muftis are going to wake up. And they're going to say, yes, 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 this is halal money. Yes, 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 we should have dinar and dirham. I have prayed to Allah to beg Him to take me away from the world. I don't want to live to see that day, because the shame and the disgrace will be too great for me. The shame and the disgrace as a Muslim for me will be too great. On that day, when they have brought back dinar and dirham as money, and only then do our people wake up. But I also prayed to Allah for something else, to keep all those muftis and all those scholars alive on that day. Keep them alive, even if you have to bring them on a stretcher, keep them alive, so that they will witness the shame and disgrace on that day. Those who today, up to this day, they are not prepared to say that this paper money is bogus, is fraudulent, is utterly haram. Keep them alive to that day. So whether we like it or whether we don't, gold and silver is coming back as money. Secondly, if I am correct that this paper is bogus and fraudulent and haram, you read my book at the back, The Gold Dinar and Silver Dirham, Islam and the Future of Money, and listen to my lectures on the subject Islam and the International Monetary System. If I am correct, then every transaction involving the use of this paper is haram. Every transaction. So you pay your zakat, it won't be accepted. You give charity, it won't be accepted. You have nikah and you give the dowry, it won't be accepted. You use this to perform your hajj, it won't be accepted. Every transaction will be haram. Well then what do? You have to return to halal money. Halal money is first and foremost dinar and dirham. In the event that dinar and dirham are in short supply in a market, then halal money would be commodities of food consumption, which are in abundant supply in the market, which have a shelf life, and which has intrinsic value created by Allah Himself. Any more questions?